If this is your first time tuning in to Tea Time with Tia Talk Show, I am your host, Tia Williams. I created this talk show platform to teach young girls how to do this thing called life and not have life do them. I want to empower you to be free while I spill my tea and share my testimonies on how I overcame life using kingdom principles. Kingdom principles are simply God's way of doing things. Principles work for anyone, anywhere, anytime, and under any circumstances. Isn't that good news? So I have to warn you guys, this tea time content is hot. It's real, it's relatable, but it's responsible. So who's ready to be free? Because it's tea time, you guys. So my first guest is Marsha Martin. She is an author and motivational speaker who obtained godly direction while being confined in a U.S. military correctional facility. Since her release in 2011, Marsha has developed multiple programs and opportunities, including the local Empowerment Prayer Band Ministry, Pearl's Book Club, and I Am the Game Changer, that impact women of all ages with messages of enlightenment, empowerment, and encouragement for their spirit, soul, and body. She is currently in the works to publish her first solo book, The Birthing of the Game Changer. Please give it up for my friend, my guest, Miss Marsha Martin. So, you know, I read your book, yes. Behind the Rank, Volume 2. So tell us a little bit about this book, this project, and how you became a part of it.
Well, Behind the Rank Volume 2 is a collaboration of 16 co-authors who just happen to be military. It's a combination of all branches with the exception of Coast Guard. And in this particular project, or with Camouflage Sisters, our visionary behind this movement created a platform where female veterans can be able to give their voice, share their stories from their perspective, reveal their truths. Sometimes there are ugly truths, bad truths, and oh my God, like an OMG type truth. And then you have the opportunity to go about the healing process. Not healing just for us, but our readers as well.
Yes, so I read the book.
Yes.
And I got the chapter 2, that's your chapter, and it's entitled, Give Voice to It So You Can Live. So tell them, what is it that you're giving voice to?
Well, it can be anything. It can be for a person who's transitioning from a bad relationship, whether abusive, physically, mentally, emotionally, transitioning out of a marriage, transitioning from a job, whether you got laid off. It could be a variety of things. It depends on what your it is. And I guess later on we'll talk about my it.
Yes. So what I'm hearing you say is when you give voice to it, it's almost like spilling your tea.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Because this is tea time, right? So you know, Marsha, you on here because we want to know the tea. So tell us a little bit about Tuesday, November 24th, 2009.
Well, that is a day before Thanksgiving, 2009, and my world was rocked, changed like never before. I was court-martialed. For those who are not familiar with the military lingo, I went through a trial, like grand jury type trial. I had, the reason I was there because I defrauded the government. I was a financial specialist for the United States Army, and I took advantage of my position, and I took a whole lot of the Army's money. And as a result, I ended up going through this court-martial, and I received a 34-month sentence, forfeiture all pay and allowances, reduced in pay grade from E6 to E1, that's a staff sergeant to a private, and I received a bad conduct discharge.
So you had to take a lot of money for them to drop that hammer.
Girl, yes, $274,000 of the government's money. Yes. In a 5-month period too.
Okay, so, all right, so, you know, take us through your thought process, right? Because you don't just wake up and make a decision like that, right? Because I'm assuming you've been a senior analyst, is that what you were? You've been doing that for a while, so what was different this time? What was your thought process that caused you to make a decision like that?
Well, you know what, I thought about that in the process of getting ready to do this project. I asked myself the question, what took me to that point? Because I was successful at what I did, you know, so I can remember one day, and mind you, this is after I got saved too, so all my money dried up. I never lived from paycheck to paycheck. I was the person, the go-to person. I provided people with money, legal money at the time. And I came home and there was no food in our house, like nothing. I ain't had nothing in the freezer. You know how usually you have a pack of something, pork chops, chicken. There was nothing. Yeah, we ain't even, my kids didn't even eat noodles. So they was like bougie, so they didn't even know what a pack of noodles was at the time. But that whole process of when you come home and you know nothing is there, and I had 3 babies, 3 kids, plus I had a whole nother family that I was taking care of, and I was like, how I was going to provide for them. So what I did, I was like, I went into survival mode. Okay, let me go try to get a loan. My bank wouldn't give me no loan. Couldn't get an increase on my credit cards. I tried payday loans, and I found out that the military, they're not authorized to give military payday loans. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I was going to do. So, you know, I couldn't go to the next door neighbor who just so happened to be a sergeant major. So I was like, I don't even know what they ate that day. But the next day I went to work, and I was sitting in there, and I worked for what they call United States Military Observer Group. I was part of the financial analyst for the peacekeeping mission. So very prominent job with a high security clearance. And I was sitting at my computer, and I was like, okay, let me try this. Let me try something. So I tried it. Then I looked over my shoulder like really somebody was standing there looking at me, and I hit enter. And my first travel voucher went through. For those, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the military community, but I didn't steal money, cash money. I did it all paperless, so to say.
So wait a minute, did you think about that? Did you go to work knowing that that's what you were going to do, or you just thought of it at that time when you were sitting at your
desk? I thought it at that time in my desk. The thought came, and I had never thought about stealing anything. Yeah. Till before I made it to the Pentagon working, I worked in Iraq. I had my smallest budget was $800 million. And if I wanted to take money and get away with it, that would have been an ideal spot, because there's really no checks and balances. This budget was only $900,000 that I took from, you know, so to say. Yeah. But I processed that first voucher, and 24 hours later, I looked at my account, I got mail, $5,000. It was just that easy. Yeah. You know, and I looked over my shoulder again, like, okay. So I went grocery shopping, took my girls shopping. They didn't know what happened. I was like, okay, Mom, like, we doing it up.
Okay, so you got away with that. You saw that was easy, so you kept doing it?
I kept doing it 5 times. Actually, 6 times.
Yeah. So did you ever think about the consequences? I mean, because, okay, let's even go back, because you said the thought just came. And I'm telling you, you guys got to check your thoughts, because they come. And the devil will put thoughts in your head. And if you don't check them, you don't have any standards, guess what? You're going to play on that thought. Because, you know, I spilled my tea. I wrote bad checks. I wrote checks on my checking account because of a thought that went unchecked. So I'm telling you. So did you ever think about the consequences? Because you're saying that you were, transitioning to be an E6, you were a senior analyst. Come on, you had it going on. So you never thought about this decision is going to jeopardize everything?
I didn't think I was going to get caught. I didn't think I was going to get caught, because in my mind, I was very strategic with what I did. At least I thought it was. I didn't, I truly believe the only reason I got caught is because, once again, I had this Jesus thing, like, it caught me off guard. And I was at work, that very last travel voucher, I was like, I need this $5,000, you know, because I had just gotten on $15,000 travel voucher because I had to include someone else in my scam after the third time because I ran out of bank accounts so I can filter money too. So the fourth person, which I included in my scam, I told her the deal, we shook on it, because you don't put nothing in writing. We shook on it.
Mistake number one.
Yeah. And so what she
gotta
did,
do your dirt by yourself.
Yeah.
You gonna do your dirt.
What she did, she kept the money. She kept the money, she didn't give me the money, so who was I gonna tell? Call law? No, that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So that's what made me end up doing the very last voucher that I got caught up on. And I did get the money, but it was a process to go through. And my battle buddy, I was sitting there trying to do it, and he told me, he said, hey, Marty Ma, he was like, you know, whatever you need, I got you. You ain't got to do whatever it is that you're doing. I said, oh, Mac, I got this. I got this. I got it all right. That was the very voucher that came back to bite me in my butt.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to ask you, you know, because there's always, like you said, levels, progression.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't just wake up and defraud the government like that. So have you ever done anything like this before? Is this your first encounter, you know, with participating in an illegal activity?
It was not. I thought about that too. Like, I was like, girl, you was like ratchet. And what happened was in my younger years, I worked for this casino. And I was security in the casino, and I worked in what they call a dispatch office. And a wallet was turned into me. And I was to the office, and I was like, okay, I called the chick to tell her, like, hey, la la la, this is in your wallet, this amount of money. La. She said, well, I'll be in tomorrow to get it. I was like, all right, bet. So I put it in a log and everything. So like 4 days went by, she ain't never show up. And I'm sitting there, I was like, man, I ain't got no money to get no lunch, I'm hungry. And so, and the thought, like, bam. That wallet right there, that thought. And then, so I was sitting there, they had cameras strategically placed. So I looked around like that. I was like, okay, if I can easily get this, they'll never know. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, ease it out, because I already looked, it was positioned right. So they didn't know what I was doing really. But she ended up reporting it like, hey, she told me, but this is what I got in here. And so they was like, we looking at the camera, we can see something, but we don't know nothing. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, because la la. So I got away with that.
Yeah.
And so I guess in the back of my mind when that time came, like, I get away with this too.
Mm-hmm. And see, yeah. So it's like you guys, you can think you're getting away with something. And see, they couldn't prove it. But guess what? It just gives you this false sense of confidence. And then you're going to try it at another level. But now the consequences are even more severe. So had she probably got disciplined, because you didn't get fired,
I didn't
right?
get fired, no.
She got away with it. But sometimes getting away with it is just a setup for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So, okay, tell us a little bit about your background. Because, see, I'm the type of person that I believe that we can hear someone's story on the surface, right? You know, you hear the news that this lady left her child in the car for 12 hours, and we're all judging her. How's she gonna leave her baby? No, it's a backstory. So I like to get to the backstory of things. So tell us a little bit about who you were prior to joining the military.
When you said that the questionnaire asked that question, like different questions that could be asked, I was hoping that you would skip over that one. But however, I consider myself a Southern Belle. I'm from Mississippi. And life for me growing up was not a good one. Very challenging for me. I come from a two-parent home, but however, my father's status is questionable. Because I got 3 dads. I have my father that raised me. I have another father that my mom told me is my dad. And then I had my third father came about because my mom, my mother, the one who brought me into this world through this process, slept with my boyfriend. And in this process, she tells me, oh, by the way, his uncle is your dad. So, yeah, so that, I didn't really have a stable, one would think from the outside it was a very stable home, but very, very much dysfunctional. Very, very much dysfunctional. You know, from physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. And the party, Mississippi, was the best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah. Okay, so I totally believe that more is caught than taught, and how our environments really shape us to make some of the decisions that we make. And it's not that someone can sit down and tell you, okay, this is how you steal, you know, or this is how you become a liar, or that, you know, you kind of watch it being played out in front of you. So have your parents or anyone else, have they ever been incarcerated, or, you know?
Well, currently my mother is incarcerated. She murdered her boyfriend. She murdered her boyfriend. And funny part, it's not really funny, but the interesting part about that is that when I found out that she was sleeping with my boyfriend, I was a country girl, so we go to the corner store and get some cookies for like a penny a piece. And I'll never forget, windmill cookies were my favorite cookies, windmill and coconut cookies. And I went to this store because my dad would let me go so I could get some cookies. I had like 75 cents, I just wanted 75 cents cookies. So I saw him, and then I saw her come from out the shadow. My mom is her. And she, I don't know, she came out this purse, my mom, and she came out with this purse, and I don't know, she got this purse with one way and a butcher knife in the other way. And I was like, okay, and I'm backing up like this. I was like, is she going crazy? And she was like, oh, such and such and such and such, and kill you, you know. And then by this time, you know, my aunts got word of it, and they relocated me to New York. And I got a message from my mom to tell me that I'm going to cut off his penis and mail it to you in a pickle jar so you can have it. This didn't come from a girlfriend that we fell out, but my mom. I'm her seed. And the very knife she tried to take my life with that night just happened to resurface with a different type, and it killed this young man. You know, I don't know the details of it because I had disconnected from my mom. Basically, really my whole family. You know, I disconnected from them because of hurt. So when she was going through that, I wasn't nowhere there. My siblings kept me informed, asked me advice, I give them advice. But I took no interest in it, none.
Wow. Okay, so on page 28 in your book, I mean, you guys should really get this book. She has some great nuggets in here. You said, breaking the silence has unleashed a woman in me I never knew existed. So, you spilling your tea, tell us how did you, because, I mean, look at you. You looking snatched, your face is deep. Like, no one would know your story, right? So, tell them a little bit on how you overcame this obstacle, because it sounds like you wasn't equipped. You didn't have principles, you know, so how did you get to this place where now you're called the game changer?
Well, I got to this place because, you know, 5 years ago, I realized that my mother could not do no more than what she was introduced to. So I can't be mad with her. So she can only do what she knew to do. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But however, God sent me my spiritual mom. And because of her nurturing, because of her love, and she gave me Jesus. She became my Ruth. Not just for a man, but for life. And I said, the first thing I said, get you a mentor. And so one of my things, so get you that person who will nurture you, give you what that parent could not, to take you into a better place. Because everybody don't have it. But you got to be open to receive her. Because it's going to be a her. It's not going to be a him. Because I'm a her, it's going to be a her for you. Because we need that. And that's why I got the mothering that I needed, the love that I needed.
Yeah. So I like this quote on page 26. You have this subtopic called the formula. And you said, I began to educate myself on a new way of looking at and living through this thing called life. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what Tea Time with Tia is all about. It's about us teaching these young girls how to do this thing called life right, so that life won't do them. Thank you, Marsha, so much for spilling your tea. I love you and I appreciate you.